Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. Check this out. We're looking at the geospace. This is a view, an animation of the magnetosphere, the shields that protect planet Earth and everybody that lives on planet Earth, right? Well, according to this was sent in by my friend Nelson. I checked this too. It's over at the ISOA, and it's showing that the magnetic fields right there, as you can see, they almost kind of disappeared. That was from one of two things. What's up, guys? Thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate you spending part of your Sunday with me over here, Angela, Rick, and Mr. Ree. What's up, guys? There's Belinda in the house. What's going on, Belinda? Right here. Notice almost an absence of the magnetic shields. You're looking at a simulation of right there. You're going to see another example of what looks like backside pressure. This is the energy. Let me show you guys what we're looking at here. You're looking at this would be the cut plane. This would be the Y cut and the X cut. The Y on the left, the Z on the right, X or Z and Y. One's from the top, one's from the side. And you're seeing the magnetic shields, the magnetosphere specifically, reacting to solar wind, coming from the left, moving to the right on this graph, okay? Earth is right there. Earth is in the middle. Okay, this is all energy moving towards the Earth from the sun. Watch what happens right there. Notice how the energy almost stopped, which it should keep moving from left to right. That's the origination. It's originating from the sun, right? Why did it stop? And it almost looked like backside pressure pushed against the backside of the Earth. Watch. Right there, it becomes almost neutral. That is rare. That's not supposed to happen, but it did on 9/7 of 2025. That would be today at 8:26 Universal Time, around 1 o'clock in the morning, give or take an hour, depending on where you live on the Earth. Yes, there was some sort of an event right there. At least that's what this graph is showing us. This is an animated graph of the magnetic shields reacting to, or the lack thereof. Right there's a good dose of plasma, and then right there, it stopped. And that's not uncommon for it to stop because density waves of plasma fluctuate, just like clouds fluctuate in the sky. Not all clouds are created equal. Some are denser than others, some are bigger than others, smaller than others, thinner than others. But this right here is telling us a story, right? And I remember years ago, right there, it almost completely disappeared. I remember years ago witnessing over here at the ISOA, at the magnetosphere, there's several different instruments that monitor, right there, that monitor this very important aspect of our reality. This is the shield that protects us from ultraviolet radiation, cosmic rays. It's a very, very important part of our day-to-day life. Right there, it just almost completely vanished. It didn't necessarily vanish, but it was reacting to nothing. There was nothing there. And I remember years ago, there was what was known as AZ Watchwoman. Thank you for, you're the very first Star Family member, AZ Watchwoman 777. But this right, there was a disconnection event, or at least that's what I took it as. It looked like the magnetic shields disconnected from the sun, at least temporarily. It was totally wild. They almost did what looked like a reversal. The solar wind blew backwards for a series of about 4 or 5 hours. Right here, we're kind of seeing an example of some sort of an anomaly. Not quite sure what's going on. This occurred just a few hours ago. We're going to keep a very close eye on this because, once again, this is a super important part of our reality, the magnetic shields. I've got all kinds of things to share with you guys today. Looky here, another whole card full. Yes, indeed. I've got an Atlas animation. In fact, I'm just going to get right to this stuff. I've got a Key Largo meteorite. Yes, some folks were sitting out in a boat in Key Largo Bay. Graham, what's up, Graham? How's it going, buddy? Thank you for the super chat. And we got our goal. $2. Way to go, Graham. You hit the goal today. Thank you, Graham. Too many things all lead back to our planet's core. Very good, Graham. And I've got an article that we're going to talk about tomorrow that Graham shared with me about your planet, if you want to call it that. Okay, here we go. We're going to look at, there's another comet in the solar system, by the way, that looks like a comet that's even closer to the sun than this comet right here. Here's an animation that was sent in by a gentleman by the name of Ryan Goodwin. And he put together, or had, I don't know, some computer model put this together, and this was what he came up with. This is an animated view of a computer-generated model view of Atlas, the interstellar traveler, what is it, 2025? The one that's from another star that's in the solar system right now. That's what the computer model generated. And here it is right here. It's C2025 N1. Well, let me show you guys something. We haven't been able to find a tail on this thing, right? We've been chasing this thing for many, many weeks, and it's going to be around for many, many more weeks. But guess what? It's not alone. It's got a friend right here on the other side of the solar system. This is C2025 A6 Lemon. And if you look at its position relative to the position of comet, I'm going to go ahead and call it a comet just for presentation purposes, but I still don't think this thing's a comet, guys. Atlas is over here on the other side of the solar system, sharing the side of the sun with Mars. This comet's over on the opposite side of the solar system with Jupiter. But it appears to be maybe just a little bit closer, or at least the same distance away from the sun as Atlas, right? Well, here's an image, a still image of the newest comet. Now, that is indeed a comet, right? There's no doubt. It's got a tail. It's got the green coma that we're all familiar with. Hey, Tina Valco. Thank you, Tina, as a Star family member. There's no denying that. That's a tail. This is an image taken by Michael Jaeger from Austria. This guy's really good. He can find any comet anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter. Just tell him there's one out there. He'll find it. He is good. But anyway, he found this one, Lemon C2025A6, and that one does indeed look like a comet, right? Well, here's what we've been chasing now for the last several weeks. They're assuming that this thing is a comet. They don't really know. And this, again, is by Michael Jaeger and his partner, Gerald Riemann. They have got in close to this object. This is the Interstellar Traveler. This is only the third time in recorded history that that something like this has happened, at least that we know of, okay? This may have happened before modern instruments and computers and things like that, but we just didn't know about it. In recorded history that we know of, this only happened 3 times, this being number 3. This has no tail, right? This is the latest and most up-close view we have of this object that you just saw is the same distance from the sun as Comet Lemon that clearly has a tail. Tina Valco, thank you, Tina, for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Orange is my favorite color today. Thank you, Tina, once again. Big shout out to Tina. Okay, but check this out. There's no tail, right, guys? Okay, I'm going to take you to a view from, it's got some unusual features, though. I will say that. Something sticking out the back right there. Yeah, right there. At the, 10 o'clock position. Something unusual as this thing's slowly rotating, moving very quickly through the solar system at a staggering speed. Last I knew, it was over 140,000 miles per hour. That's even hard to wrap your mind around, But I want to take you guys to Texas. We're going to take a close look, or as close as we could get, at this comet. In case you guys haven't seen it, I'm not so sure it's a comet. I have a hard time even saying that because it doesn't look like a comet. Here we go. This is the object caught by Kenneth J. Edwards Jr. out of Port Davis, Texas. Look at that thing. You don't see a tail, right? We're going to go in a little closer. It looks like a highly unusually shaped object cruising through the solar system, again, at the same distance, nearly the same distance away from the sun as Comet Lemon. No tail. There's no tail there, guys. And if there is a tail, they say it's facing the sun, which, again, kind of defies all logic, because how would it have more strength than the solar wind? That's what that would tell us if the tail's facing the sun. But honestly, I've gone in as close as I can get on this thing without becoming too super overly pixelated, and there's no tail there. So that's the latest update on our Interstellar Traveler. Yes, it's still here. This is the current position of the object right now with respect to Mars. It's coming in like an airplane would fly on the ecliptic plane. It's coming in basically horizontal. And compared to Comet Lemon, you can see it's coming in at a highly inclined. See it? That's how most comets come in. They come in at a steep incline, not straight across like this one here. That's coming in again like an airplane would fly. So it's implying that it's aerodynamic, maybe. I don't know. It's still a mystery. People don't really know 100% sure. You know, they're not sure exactly what we're dealing with. But the other night in Key Largo, this definitely had a tail. Check this out. Michael was down in Key Largo. I believe him and his wife were out in a bay in Key Largo, Florida on 9/2 of 2025. Check this out. There was no denying that this definitely had a tail. Here we go. This is what they spotted in the sky just a couple of nights ago. And he had his camera rolling. Look at that. Saw it for 40 seconds. Over 40 seconds. Thank you, Tina Vaco.
No, it's not.
Is that breaking apart?
Yeah, it's a meteor.
Look at that. That's got a tail, right? Very bright head. Key Largo.
Right there. Oh my God. Did you do the whole thing?
I did.
It was the longest meteor.
Holy shit.
they were very excited. They just happened to be at the right place at the right time and saw a long duration, fairly dramatic. I mean, we've seen bigger, but I was wondering if this maybe was the re-entry of some sort of space debris. I don't know. I mean, usually when space debris re-enters the atmosphere, and especially at this altitude, it's breaking apart like fireworks. You know, it's disintegrating in many, many pieces. This held together, created a tail, and a very bright head. So I don't know if that was I think it was a meteorite. I'm on board with Michael. I do think that was a meteorite, but there's always that outside chance that could have been the re-entry of some type of space debris, since we're having rocket launches about every 48 hours here in the last couple of years. We see rocket launches once a week, at least, sometimes twice a week. But yeah, something cool entered the sky above Key Largo, Florida, captured on video. Are you serious right now? Yes, we are. I want to show you guys some interesting photos of here's something interesting sent in by my friend Nelson Jenks. Nelson just shared with me an entire folder, basically, of unique places on Google Earth. And this is one of the many places that we're going to be visiting here in the coming days. I'm still working on it. This location, to be honest with you, I haven't even been to yet. He just shared the image with me. And as you can see, this is a very interesting image on Google Earth. We're going to go to this location. We're going to get a much better look at this particular image and several in the same vicinity that are just, to put it mildly, interesting to say the least. I don't know what Nelson ran across, but he ran across something very interesting. And there's a lot of interesting things on Google Earth, trust you me. So we're going to go take a look at that here in the coming days. And I wanted to touch base on Hurricane Kiko, okay? I've had a few people ask, not a lot, but I've had at least 3 people ask me, is Hurricane Kiko going to impact Hawaii as a Category 4? Well, here you go. Here's the latest on Kiko. This is what it looks like right now out in the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean, in parts, is cooler than the Atlantic Ocean, especially the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf. So for a storm to form out here, it's not uncommon. It happens all the time during hurricane season in the Northern Hemisphere. And this was indeed, as you can see, at one time, the red line there represents Category 4. It was a very strong, well-defined eye storm, and very symmetrical. You know, it's got that buzzsaw appearance to it. But you can see right now it's weakening. It went from a Category 4 down to a 3, and right now it's almost a 2. And again, for those of you that live in Hawaii and that were asking, is this thing going to impact Hawaii? Here we go. Let me back out and show you guys the latest path. It's going to come close to Hawaii, okay? But the models that I follow, and they're all in agreement, they're showing this thing gradually moving further and further to the north. And as it's moving to the north, it's going to weaken because the northern waters in the North Pacific especially progressively get cooler and cooler the farther north you go. In fact, the waters off the coast of California are notoriously cool. That's why they don't have a lot of hurricanes, if any, off the coast of California, because the water is too cold. But they do head out towards the Central Pacific. And once you cross Hawaii, there's an imaginary line there, okay? If you go west of Hawaii, that same storm would be known as a typhoon. Over on the east side of Hawaii, it's called a hurricane. Right now, it's still a hurricane, but once it gets close to Hawaii, and that's all it's going to do, guys, it's just going to get close. It should not, unless something very drastic happens between now and Tuesday of next week. This thing's going to stay well north of Hawaii as a tropical storm. Will they see some possible rain showers and wind gusts? Yeah, absolutely, they probably will. But nothing really to worry about, and nothing that they haven't seen before. So this is not going to impact Hawaii as a major hurricane. In fact, I would be very surprised if it got to Hawaii as an organized hurricane. I think it's going to be a discombobulated tropical storm, but that's just my opinion. We will have to wait and see. But for the most part, is it going to impact? Absolutely not. I don't think it can. I wanted to share something else with you guys. This was on the thumbnail of the video that you guys just saw. This is a newer satellite. It's called the GOES-19 CCOR-1. And this monitors the sun. What you're looking at is an opaque disk that blocks out the sun. The sun is behind this disk. And I've had several people share this with me. In fact, this was shared with me just a couple of days ago. And they're seeing an anomaly on here. And if you've never seen it before, it is quite shocking when you see this. So here we go. It's as if something is darting through right there through the inner solar system. And there indeed is. That's your Earth. That's a form of Earth shine. And it's got something to do with the position of this particular satellite that monitors the sun. Just like this is like a version of the SOHO, LASCO C2 and C3. And we've used the SOHO, LASCO C2 and 3 for years. Here's another example of a satellite that monitors the sun 24/7. This one just happened to capture a comet back in January. Right there, that was Comet Atlas. This is another comet in the Atlas family. And what that means is it was discovered at the Atlas facility. That's how it got its name. The Atlas Observatory discovered this comet, so they get to name it. So it's Atlas, C 2020, I believe this was 2025, I don't know, A1 or something like that. It was one of the first ones of 2025. But it went right through the field of view of the stereo ahead spacecraft. Super dramatic tail, highly photogenic. I mean, actually, it was very, very impressive. So that's what we should be seeing from the other comets. But this instrument right here, the way it's positioned and the way it monitors the sun, it monitors the sun inside the moon's orbit, where the SOHO is just outside of the moon's orbit. So what we're seeing here is an anomaly that is indeed quite shocking. And this is a form of Earthshine. When the moon is in approaching full position, the reflection of light, honestly, guys, this is nothing more than a trick of light. There's not some rogue planet, and I know several of you have probably seen that. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there's the email. The email is working good, and I am all caught up with the email, guys. Thank you. This is a form of... It's a trick of light is what this is. There's not a planet moving through your solar system. And I believe this is a smartphone app that too. I think you can use it on your laptop too. But the two people that have shared this with me when they saw this screen recorded it on their cellular devices, their smartphones. So that is not a rogue planet. That is not Planet X going through the inner solar system, even though it looks like it could be. Trust me, it is not. So nothing to worry about there. That is nothing more than something called Earthshine. That's light reflecting off of the moon back onto the satellite. It's just a whole thing, but nothing to worry about. I want to share with you guys some new, and this has been going on since November of 2024. Check this out, you guys. This one here is going to knock your socks off. San Antonio, Texas. The phenomena continues. Dennis, 8/25 of 2025. I've gotten examples this morning. They're still coming in. I probably got 6 examples in this morning's email. Look at this building in downtown San Antonio, Texas. Are you serious right now? So you think that's a bulb issue? Or do you think maybe it's something a little bigger than a bulb issue that just affected that tallest building right there in that vicinity? Like maybe that building absorbs some sort of a rogue energy, like in the form of an EMP, and it disrupted the flow of electricity to these specific lights. and they just went haywire. That's what compelled them to take the video. That's not a bulb issue. There's no way that could be a bulb issue. If it were a bulb issue, the bulb would just simply go out. This one here is a little bright, so I'll skip right through it because I know a lot of you are sensitive to the light, and I'm trying to avoid that. St. Petersburg, Florida. This one here is very bright. We're going to skip right through it. But guys, I'm still getting these. I've been getting these since November of 2024, and it looks like we're going to continue to get these. I don't know, indefinitely, because the phenomena is still sweeping the Earth. Why this is happening, we've theorized and speculated. I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, it's just a ballast issue. Look, I've changed ballast since I was a kid in high school at my first job. Kent out of Redding, California. This is his neighbor's house. He was just out for a casual walk one evening. Noticed the lights on his neighbor's house going absolutely loco. So he stopped and took a video. He's never seen that before, and it only happened on that night. So why would, just on one rogue and random night, the lights on that house just start flashing? Like in this store here out of Clarion, Pennsylvania, I believe this video was sent in by Sue S. Was standing at the front of this big box store. People could not check out, hey, Graham, thank you, buddy. What elements are underground in those locations? You know, Graham, I thought of that myself. I know here in Arizona has a certain amount of copper in the ground, but that is something I think should probably be considered, you know. I don't know exactly what's like. Okay, here in Pennsylvania, I would say where this location was at, there's probably a fair amount of coal in the ground, right? Because Pennsylvania is known for coal mining. But look at the building here. The people at the registers were stuck. There was nothing they could do because the registers weren't working. So this tells you right here, this example right here, this is the deal breaker because this tells you that it's way more than just a bulb issue. None of the checkouts worked either. These were self-checkouts at the front of the store. People were standing around, but they're like, could somebody help me check out? Because the machines were malfunctioning. The lights on the ceiling, not all of the lights, I see that too, not all of the lights, some of the lights. Just one specific circuit was malfunctioning. The circuit that these cash registers were malfunctioning. At least the machines were malfunctioning. See these folks standing there? They couldn't even check out because the machines were not working properly. So there was some sort of a rogue and random event, at least in my opinion. That's my theory. There's a rogue and random something that's causing rogue like interference in clean electricity. It's actually called, I think I put it in here right there, yeah, dirty electricity. I think it's creating temporarily dirty electricity in places, and that's just a term for electricity that's contaminated with electromagnetic interference. That's all it is. So I think that's what's going on. It's still going on, guys, and it's been going on since November of 2024. This one here, I was just like, wow. The upper half of this high rise in San Antonio, Texas, acting as it, and the gentleman that took this video had never seen it do this before and had never seen it do it since that one particular night. So rogue and random, it certainly is. I don't know if you guys saw the picture over here at the homepage of the website, but this is a stunning photo. A gentleman just stepped outside by the name of Robert at 4:30 a.m. to have him a smoke. And when he looked up in the sky, that's what the sky looked like. And I know that some people are thinking, oh, that's Aurora. I don't think it's Aurora. He's down in Kentucky, and auroras don't necessarily dip down there on a regular basis, and this was not during a geomagnetic storm. And there's no very large greenhouses over there because a greenhouse facility, especially a large one, can emit like what they call purple light. But it's not going to impact a cloud like that that's spanning for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 miles through the sky. A greenhouse will affect one specific area and just that area alone. This spanned across the sky, and I actually got 4 more photos of that event that Robert saw in Kentucky just the other night, and they are super cool and they are unedited. I'm going to share those with you guys here coming up. Looking at the planetary K index, right now it's very, very flat. As you can see, yesterday there was a small G1 geomagnetic storm, KP5, and looking at the Earth-facing side of the sun. In fact, I've got This is a photo that was sent in by Anna of the sun just a couple of days ago. Look at the detail. And I've got a photo that was sent in by our friend Tim Huntley. That's excellent detail there too, but I don't know if she used her smartphone. This photo here was taken by Eric out of Massachusetts with his smartphone behind a very thick sky of wildfire smoke. He was able to pull forward the sunspots on that day. Tim Huntley also was able to pull forward the sunspots with his Samsung smartphone. I mean, these people are using their smartphone devices to record sunspots on the sun. But he also had the wildfire smoke acting as a solar filter, you know. So we're going to zoom in. I'm going to show you what Tim captured with his Samsung Galaxy S25. And no, this is not a promo for a Samsung Galaxy. I don't use Samsung, but Tim does, and he had no tripod, and he filmed this on the fly. Look at that. Are you serious right now? I haven't done anything to this except put his name on it. Great photo by Tim Huntley. Look at that. And that's fairly recent too. I think that's within the last, I don't know, 48 to 72 hours. It's not that old. There have been some new sunspots since developed right there in the lower southern hemisphere since he shared that photo with me. But overall, the Earth-facing side of the sun is active, but it's pretty quiet. I don't think there's been any major, other than an M-class solar flare. We've got some coronal holes facing the Earth. The dark spots you see on the Earth-facing side of the sun are very big coronal holes. Coronal holes are an absence of the sun's atmosphere, and we're getting raw star power coming out of those absences, and this one here is coming towards the Earth. Will we see a geomagnetic storm? Sometimes they can spark geomagnetic storms. Looking at the Schumann resonance, all in all, pretty quiet the last 7 days, other than a 10-hour area of heightened activity above 40 hertz. That was on, what was that, where were we at? The 2nd. That was on the 2nd. Other than that, things have been pretty quiet. Looking at the cosmic rays, the other day we had a big, huge cosmic ray event on here. Right now, it's pretty normal. This is what we see pretty much all the time. Not too much going on in the cosmic ray world. There's my moderator. Yay, my moderator's in the house. Thank you, moderator, for stopping by. I haven't had a chance to come up for air. I've been over here getting through my list, and I got through my list, guys. How about that? Wow, I need to take a 1.4K. Oh, thanks for all the likes, guys. The likes help push this video out there. So if you can, take 2 seconds and hit that like button, and that'll push the video out a little further. I sure do appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. Hello, Bay Richardson, Miss DJ. What's going on, guys? Keith Hardy, watching from Onalaska, Texas. Right on. What's going on, Texas? Man, I get some unbelievable photos out of Texas. In fact, there's a photo that I'm going to share here in a day or two, what looks like an event out of the movie Independence Day. Folks, were at a Texas Tech game in Lubbock, Texas, and the sky all of a sudden turned into what looks like a big mothership coming in over a football stadium. In fact, I think they stopped the football game. People were taking pictures of the sky instead of watching the football game. Absolutely unbelievable. And it was real, unedited. Didn't do anything to it but put the person's name on it. In fact, I had 2 people share the same storm system that went, 3 actually, that went through Lubbock, Texas. Karen sent in an incredible photo from the football stadium. Wow. Hello from Copenhagen. Yay, Copenhagen. Man, it's late over there. How you doing, Copenhagen? Good to see you, Stefan. Glad you're joining us. What's up, Victor from Kansas? Victor from Kansas. Mrs. DJ. What's up? What's going on? West Virginia in the house. Tennessee in the house. Yay, XRP fan. Central Valley, California. M. Romero. What's up, guys? Southern Cross. Nancy T. Keith Hardy. Janice S. Yeah. Everyone from County Durham, United Kingdom. I get some amazing photos and videos out of the United Kingdom as well. United Kingdom, Australia, all around the world. What's up, Graham? Graham's over there in Scotland. Rare elements from the sun, push into our atmosphere and react with moisture, creating... That's true, Graham. You are right. Graham, you are very well educated. Ravens Wolf, northeastern Pennsylvania. And Ravens Wolf is a star family member. Yay, Ravens Wolf. Oregon. New Zealand in the house. Stafford, Arizona, my neighbor. Mobile, Alabama, Oregon. This is moving way fast over here. Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia. Right on, right on. Donna Desmond, Star family member, longtime Star family member. Scotland, Milton, Florida, Canada, Chicago. Right on. I've been to Chicago several times. In fact, Edgar, I went to Chicago 2 times to see Michael Jordan play basketball. Twice. Yep, got to see Michael Jordan and Larry Bird in the same game. How about that? Happy Dragon Reptiles. That's our friend Nelson out of North Carolina. Nelson's shared this photo right. Where's it at, Nelson? Right there, buddy. Nelson shared this with a Nelson Star family member as well. Thank you, Nelson. Nelson shared some incredible stuff with me. In fact, Nelson shared the ISAWA footage that showed a magnetosphere anomaly. It's a combination of both. There was an absence of solar wind, but there also looked like, we talked about at the beginning of the video, it looked like backside pressure right there on the backside of the magnetosphere. This is the magnetosphere. It's a simulator that shows the activity of the magnetosphere. And right in there, you can see how it bulges forward to the left. That's the direction the solar wind is coming from. So that in itself is an anomaly. I've used the ISAWA for many, many years. Thank you, Nelson, for the videos and this photo right here. We're going to visit these places, but I had to do some more research on those places, Nelson. But thank you again. Those are super, super cool. Good finds. Nelson scours the earth. He finds all kinds of cool stuff. Very, very talented. Thank you, Nelson. All right. So where are we? North Scottsdale, Arizona. Right on. Florida, Indiana. Where else we got here? Oklahoma, Central Florida. I used to live in Central Florida. Yes, I did many years ago. All right, guys. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for hitting the likes. I can tell that you did. The number went up by a factor of 200. It's still going up. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. You're looking at a comet atlas because this was discovered at the Atlas facility. Right there it is. This occurred back in January of 2025. Beautiful spectacle there, captured by the Stereo Ahead spacecraft. So they do come into the solar system. That's not anything that's necessarily new. But to have one enter the solar system, and it's as close to the sun as it is right now, Comet Atlas is a very mysterious object, and it's from another star. So I'm waiting on a new update, a new updated photo or collection of photos. They have to stack images on top of each other to make like a GIF video, basically is what they're making. So I'm excited to see the next ones, and then we'll analyze those and see if we can see a tail. But right now, there still has been no visible tail, at least what I can see. Laura and Scottsdale, Wacky Whack is cool. Howdy from New Mexico. What's going on, guys? Surprise, Arizona in the house. Got all kinds of Sholo, Arizona. Got all kinds of Arizonans in the house. Welcome, Arizonans. You guys are my neighbors out here. Finally starting to cool down a little bit, huh? I mean, we're not out of the woods yet, but actually it's been a mild summer compared to some of the temperatures we've dealt with out here, 119, 120. So, but we're winding summer down. Delaware, the tail of towards the backwards of the field. Coincidence? I know, right, Graham? I hear you. Looks like a wing. Yeah, it does look like a wing, doesn't it, Nelson? Because you know why it looks like that? Because it's reacting like a normal comet would to the solar wind. That tells you right there there's solar wind coming off of the sun. That's a classic example. Good observation, Nelson. It does look like a wing. We don't see that with comet, this Atlas thing. It's just simply not there. There's nothing there to see. Here it is. There's nothing to see. I'm zoomed in as tight as I can get on this thing. Gentleman out of Texas. There it is, right in the center. The thing that's moving through the center. There's no tail. There's nothing that looks like a wing. Nothing. It's just it's an object. It is an object for sure. Exactly what that is remains to be seen, guys. It's a mystery. And it's only happened 3 times in modern history. How about that? Nicholasville, Kentucky in the house. Wisconsin in the house. Surprise in the house. Arizona monsoon. I know, right? We don't get the monsoons that we used to. at least with regard to the rain. We've had some nasty dust storms this year, but we could use some more rain, right? We love the rain. Make it rain. Make it rain. Happy dragon reptiles. I know it is beautiful, Nelson. I agree. Couldn't agree with you more. Graham, don't know about the 119. Yeah, I can remember 119s. Trust you me, it's happened. I remember 120. I can remember sitting in the car and seeing the thermostat go up to 120, 122. Now, that was sitting on asphalt. When I was moving, it was 119. Yeah, exactly. Not a comet, Victor. I don't think so, buddy. I don't think it's a comet, but we're going to wait and see. We're going to be looking at this thing through October, so we got a long time to take a look at it. Avi Loeb has asked for NASA to watch it for probes from that. Right, I know. He's the Harvard scientist that he's all in. He's saying that this is not a comet. He doesn't believe it's a comet. He thinks this thing was the path that it's taking through the solar system right here. He thinks this path was intelligently designed. He thinks it's no coincidence that this thing is flying in horizontally and it's going to make a close approach to 3 planets in our solar system. Yeah. So he's all in thinking that this thing, there's no way that this came in by chance. And you know what? The more I look at it, I'm not a Harvard scientist, but I don't think you have to be. If you know a little bit about just astrophysics, and you don't have to know a whole lot, just the basics, laws of motion, right? The laws of motion, that's all. Just a little bit, and a little bit of common sense. I'd tell you this thing may not be a comet, may not. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, it certainly is not and has not been behaving like one. No way. But as far as the Kiko hurricane, once again, I wanted to update one final time. There are no hurricanes out here in the Atlantic, Gulf, or Caribbean for the next 5 days. Obviously, none today. And there should not be any formation over the next 5 days. I don't want to go out any farther than that because we are in peak hurricane season in the Northern Hemisphere. So conditions can change pretty quickly. But right now, not much happening in the Atlantic, Caribbean, or the Gulf. The action is over in the Pacific. Kiko is a category 2. It's headed towards the islands of Hawaii, not just one, all of them. But it should stay well north of all of the islands. Love RKN. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Would love for you to do a Q&A for members. I have questions for you, and my name is Jen. Well, Jen, I would be humbled to do a Q&A sometime, and I will, okay? I'll put that on my to-do list right over here on my desk, and we will do a Q&A. Definitely. A Q and a live stream. Right there it is. It's on my desk. We'll do it. Good idea. I'm always looking for ideas. When this comet is at its closest point, where will the moon be? Good question, Graham. Let's see here. Its closest point's going to be behind the sun. That's what's going to make this thing even trickier. And that's what the Harvard scientist was, talking about. He's like, again, this thing is not it has too many coincidences. And, I'm like you guys. I don't believe in coincidences. Its close approach is going to be behind the sun. And we're not really going to have a good look at it until it comes out the other side. So that too is a bit curious. I don't know. There's just a lot of curious things about this thing, and the very fact that it doesn't yet look like a typical comet, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's the composition of this thing. They say it's got an excessive amount of CO. But again, most objects that organic of any kind that come near the inner solar system like this, I mean, this thing is approaching the orbit of Mars. I mean, it's easily feeling the solar wind now from the sun. Absolutely it is. It should be reacting. They call that going sublime when the surface feature of a comet, especially an organic comet like that one there behind me. I mean, even that one there, and it's an animation. It's spewing off dust and particles and stuff like that. Why isn't this thing? It's not doing anything like that. Like the object here above Key Largo. This one here was showing some signs of activity. Look at that inside the atmosphere. They were describing this as a meteorite, and it very well could have been. I wasn't there. There's also an outside chance that this could have been space debris, but that right there was spotted above Key Largo, Florida, right around 72 hours ago. So definitely had a fiery tail. Good catch there by Michael from Key Largo. All right, guys. Well, listen, I want to thank all of you for stopping by. I'm going to call it a day. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me. As always, I greatly appreciate it. I really do. And I've got some cool things I'm working on here coming up. Thanks to Nelson Jinks out of North Carolina. Nelson, you're going to keep me busy for the next couple of days, my friend. I've got a lot of research to do. I'm going to find those locations on Google Earth, and we are going to share them next week. And Jen, we'll work on that Q&A. Good idea. And we'll make that happen too here, probably next week. Great idea. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to hop off of here. Again, thanks for spending part of your Sunday with me. Thanks for watching. Have a super day. And as always, be safe out there.